Hello everyone, it is Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where I discuss all things planners, fountain pens, and fountain pen inks. And here I am looking at my 2026 planner journal lineup. Yes, it feels like there's a lot here. And when I look back to when I started my whole planner journaling journey back in 2017, wow, 2017. I started with one mini happy planner. By a month late, like a month later, I had two mini happy planners, one just for planning and one for journaling. And then now I have this. But what I want to say about this setup is that out of all of this, there's maybe two things here that I've had to purchase new for 2026. Everything else here are things that are going to continue to be used in 2026, but also I've raided or shopped my stash of notebooks to be able to come up with my planner lineup. So out of all of the years that I've ever been planning, this is probably the one that feels like I have a lot here, but has probably been the least expensive to supply for 2026. Let's just get started. First things first, this is not changing, and I don't even know if I should be including it in my planner journaling lineup because it's not a planner. It's just basically a work notebook using a Hobonichi A5 notebook. I'm going to use this until it's done and then use another notebook next year. Quickest update for 2026 is my work notebook. Next up, we have my journals. So these are not my planners. These are my journals. We've got the A5 and then my A6 5-year journal. I haven't had to buy new for any of these because, let's open up this one, because they're all multi-year journals. So this is a 5-year journal. This is going to be a multi-year / 4-year journal. This I started at the beginning of 2025, and this is made up of two A5 Planner Monkey Co. notebooks that were each 400 pages. It's been the perfect amount of pages for me so that I could do essentially one day over 2 pages. So half a page for each year. So 2025, 2026, 2027, and 2028, which essentially means that for the course of 4 years, I've only bought the two notebooks, and it's going to keep me until the end of 2028. And I'm so excited for this because going into 2026, this will be my second year of using this, and I'll actually be able to start seeing entries from 2025 and be able to read what I wrote and then start really comparing how I'm doing in 2026 versus 2025. And I think that reflection is always so important, and I love that I have that in this multi-year journal. One of the things that I mentioned, I think, last year and why I decided to go this way is because I love journaling, but I never go back and read through my journals. And one of the things that I love about my 5-year journal is being able to look through previous years and read through, even things like the weather, what I'm grateful for, things that we're doing differently, even if it's just the mundane things, seeing how differently I write about the mundane things in 2022 versus now. And I wanted that with a bit more detail, but also a little bit more, feeling and reflection that the A5 allows me to with the amount of space that I have here. But also half a page in my writing is sufficient enough space for me to do a little bit of a synopsis of the day, but also to dive into my feelings a little bit. I don't need a whole A5 page. I've tried that with the Hobonichi and the Sterling ink, and it was almost too much space for me. Whereas I feel like this is enough space to really get to my thoughts, talk a little bit about my day, but also, if I want to, have room for pictures and things like that. So I'm looking forward to being able to start my second year in this. Once again, this is a Planner Monkey Co. notebook. I purchased 2 of these, and they are housed in Bujo Planner A5 covers. This one is a trifold. I cannot remember the color of this, but it's got the caramel with the black pocket, and it's just so soft and luxurious. And then this one was the first I believe, the first A5 planner that I bought. And I love the shiny pocket and just the neutral. I do have my work planner is in that black with the copper pocket. So I feel like I have the freedom to switch around between all these, but they're just, I love the fact that I don't have to worry about buying another journal because this is what I'll be using until the end of 2028. For some people, that would be a little scary knowing that they can't switch or this is what they're stuck with until 2028. But for me, it's inspiring knowing that as the years go, I'll be able to look back on all my entries and see something that has taken 4 years to complete. That can be really intimidating for some people, but for me, that inspires me to finish it. That's the way my brain works with these, and I'm so looking forward to being able to start the second year in this. And then, saying that I'm starting the second year in this and then going into my A6 5-year journal, I will be starting my 5th year in this. So the 5th and final year in the A6 5-year journal. I can't believe that it's been 4 years and starting my 5th year in 2026, which is the final year in here. It's so crazy looking back on this, but also it feels like ages have gone by, but also not, if that makes sense. And I feel like I've developed a really good habit for this 5-year journal, and I'm so happy with it. And next year, because I know that the space here for the weather and the gratitude, there's really not going to be any space here. What I've been doing with this part of the page for 2025 is I've only actually been doing the weather and the gratitude in this half of the row, and then this half of the row I'm going to use for 2026. So that solves my problem for the majority of the year, although in January I kind of didn't do that. So we'll see how that goes. But again, looking forward to being able to say that I will have finished this by the end of 2026. Now, one thing that I didn't show in the intro was something that I purchased at Indigo. Ooh, sorry for shaking the camera, but I purchased this because I saw this idea. I can't even remember who posted this idea, but similar to a 5-year journal, instead of writing about what you did on a day-to-day basis, each day has a different question or journaling prompt. Now, I did a quick pen test on here, and it was okay. Like, it's not Tomoe River paper or anything like that, but there's a little bit of bleed through, so I'm going to be really careful about what I use in here. Or the other thing that I could do is actually just take the questions in here and put them in a different notebook altogether. I haven't completely decided, but I really like the idea of having one question and just doing a few lines and then that's it. Keep it really easy. I might actually even keep this next to my bed so that it's something that I could write in right before I go to bed. And I may not even use fountain pen in it. We'll see how that goes. But I love the idea of having that one question or that one prompt and then seeing how you answer it differently over the course of 5 years. So really, those are my journals. I said I didn't purchase anything for my journals, but that was actually a lie. Sorry, I did purchase this, but this was only, how much were you? $19 Canadian. So cute, and I think it's just going to be so fun to fill this in as the years go by. So those are my journals for 2026. Next, my options for my pen and ink journal. Now, for pen and ink, where I keep track of, well, it's a chronological record of what I have, what I've acquired, what I've tried, what I've inked, etc. I'm going to be using probably this Hobonichi A5 notebook with 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I can't remember how many pages this has, but I love this paper. I purchased this off of Amazon last year, so it's actually been in my stash for a little over a year, and this is not the bad 2024 paper. I believe it's a 2023 paper. And I also, as an option, have the Hemlock and Oak New Archivist paper. Now, I did a pen test on this last week. So if you want to see that, I'll link the video down below. But this could also be a good option for a journal, or it could be one that I could do my doodles in. I wanted to keep that open because I also wanted to be able to use this paper. I love that this paper is fountain pen friendly. I love that it is created by a Canadian company, but it's also environmentally friendly, which is amazing for fountain pen friendly paper. Then the other option that I do have that I'm thinking about are these two A6 notebooks. Purchased these again last year when I thought I was going to use them, and I didn't end up using them. So again, I'm just shopping my stash, but two A6 notebooks that I could possibly use for doodles again. So I could use this for doodles, or I could use this for doodles. Both are completely open to me, but right now I know I like having the options for pen and ink journals and seeing what I could do with it. I feel like this would be great for doodles and painting and things like that, and having the space in an A5 would be really great. And then I think going forward, like doing my currently inked in here, but then doing all the paper swatching in here as well would be really cool. So I may switch some things around, but I think just having the option of these are what I could use is really, really helpful for me. Now, I did purchase this notebook from Hemlock and Oak, but I did use my affiliate credits from them, so I didn't actually have to spend money for that this year. That was just using credits based on all of you using my code, so I appreciate that. Thank you. So that is those are my options for my pen and ink journals for 2026. And just as a note as well, this trifold cover was made by Ina Christina. We met very briefly when she was here in Edmonton, and she gifted me two beautiful covers. And then we sat and talked for like a good hour and a half, 2 hours. It was like we had known each other for years. It was great. So thank you, Ina, for this beautiful cover. But anyway, yes, those are my pen and ink journals for 2026. And last but not least, my actual planner. So everything that I've talked about before this has been a work notebook, journals, or more of like a crafty art journal with my pen and ink journal. This is my actual planner. So this is a cover that was gifted to me by Ina Christina. And I love that she messaged me and said, I'm going to be in Canada. I'd love to make you a cover. Let me know what color. And one of her favorite colors, or her favorite color, is green. And when she showed this, I was like, I have to have it in that color. And I now have this beautiful creation that she's made. And then I added my Travelers Company airplane little charm here. But this is my planner, my passport planner that I have here. So it's got, I won't show everything in here, but it's got this zip pocket file from Amazon. I believe it's, oh, I can't remember the name of it, but I will link it below. And then I've got this plastic Travelers Company pocket. And then I purchased, let's see if I can block this off here. So I have this plastic pocket in here that I keep my cards in. I took them out obviously for purposes of this video. And then I also purchased this Travelers Company monthly insert that I'm going to use for social media. And then in here is actually this notebook. This was an A6 notebook that I cut down to passport size, and it was what I was using for, I guess, my passport planner since the beginning of August. And I've loved testing out this size in here. It's just been so cute, which has led me to my planner for 2026. This is well, actually, it's a passport notebook that was going to be used in 2025 as a gratitude journal, but I only used it up until maybe the beginning of March. And what I did was cut out the signatures. Thank you for all those who provided that word for me in my setup video, because I had a total brain fart. But I cut out the signatures that were part of this section, and then I cut off the cover, and then I put it all back together with some book tape and some cardstock in the inside. But this is what my planner is going to be for 2026. If you haven't seen my setup video yet, I will link it as well. But I love that. I love this size. I love that everything is in this notebook. I've already started using it for 2025, and I'm just really happy so far with this size. It also has this pen clip in here from Traveler's Company. It was a little set that I got on Amazon, but I'm just absolutely in love with this setup. Now, I don't actually have this on strings in here because I feel like I always take this out, put it back in, take this out. So that's actually just going to sit in there like this and then basically be held in place when it's sitting like that. But I love this setup because it really is my wallet. In 2025, my week's cover also had card slots in it, and I was using it as my wallet, and I love being able to take it out with me wherever I went. But I love this setup. There's something about the size of it that I think really suits me, especially with my teeny tiny writing. But I also love how functional this section is because I have places for cards. I've got this really cute, oh my gosh, now I can't remember the name of it, patch from Amarillo Stationery, you know, some stickers, this monthly spread. I felt like, or this monthly insert, I felt like I needed an extra one or a separate one from my actual planner for all of social media. And this way I can keep it as simple as possible as well. I don't have to decorate this or anything. I added a couple of stickers, but that's it. It really is functional. And then, yeah, this notebook, I set this up with a few pages at the beginning for, the few pages at the beginning for things like books that I've read, movies, etc. And then I'm going to have my monthly spread for anything that I need to pre-plan and appointments, and then my weekly spreads. And then there's a whole bunch of pages left at the back. So I've actually counted out how many weeks I'm going to need. And then after that, there's about 130 pages after that I could use for pretty much anything. So that I love that I was able to take a notebook that I didn't end up using in 2025 and repurpose it for my planner for 2026, because there's so many times where we purchase so much, and I think many of us can feel bad if we have like a stash of planners, a stash of notebooks that we never get to. Whereas my theme this year was to really use up what I have and repurpose things so that, one, I could save money, and two, I won't have basically a graveyard of notebooks that I'm not using. So really the whole theme of 2026 was to use what I have and make the most of what I have. All right, so let's do a big pile of everything again. First, we have my work notebook. Then we have my journals. I know that seems like a really big pile, but this doesn't seem intimidating or overwhelming to me. Then we have my pen and ink journals, and I'll be doing a separate video for setting these up, which basically means that I'll be swatching my whole ink inventory just because I want to keep track of what I have and then keeping track of all the pens that I'm starting the year off with. So pen and ink journal. And then lastly, my actual planner. So my passport planner. Let's spread these out so that they don't all fall over each other. Ooh, all right. That is my planner lineup for 2026. What are your thoughts on all of this? I feel like these videos are a great reflection of what has worked for me and what hasn't, but also for me, they're a way to look at 2026 as a new start. And there's this, what is the word that I'm trying to say? But there's this kind of hope for how things are going to turn out in terms of how we're going to use our planners. Now, I also love being able to do the planner updates throughout the year because I think it's very realistic to say that I may stick with all of this, I may not, but that's all part of the planner journey and that's all okay. So I think allowing ourselves to have that flexibility that life changes and so do our planning needs is okay too. To the point where I know that there's some people who are like, yeah, but there's some people who just planner hop just to planner hop and then they leave things behind. If you're changing planners because it better suits your needs, great. But if you're only doing it to be able to, try out new planners and not really stick with the system, you have to find what's working for you and you have to find what actually helps you. Okay, wow, this is a lot. When I look at what I have had in previous years, I feel like I should go through my planner lineup videos from previous years, but this feels like a sustainable system to me. And I don't even feel like I need to count my work notebook because it's not a planner, it's just a work notebook. I'm not keeping my schedule in there, it's notes, etc. So yeah. All right. I keep saying that is it for me, but I promise this is it for me. If you have any questions about any of these, please let me know down below. Otherwise, don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe. Thanks again for watching and have yourselves a great day.